is your host, Donna Torno, Director, Panama Canal Zone Veterans, giving you, the injured, a voice in the sea of damaged lives by the VA's cornucopia of lies and deceit. We all know now that dioxin was present in the canal zone, and we intend to have our voices heard. Today's voice of the injured is Bud. Bud served in Panama twice, guarding something on the Chiva Chiva Trail. Who knows what? Welcome, Bud.
Thank you, Donna.
Now,
Glad to be here.
now, Bud, what MOS did you have while you were down in Panama, and what were you doing?
Basically, anti-aircraft artillery was what we did. The large guns, the missiles, and of course the smaller twin 40 mechanized.
Wow, were you shooting them or driving them, or what were you doing with those?
Well, did all the above.
Oh man.
I actually fired them, drove them, pulled them, and placed them in different, various locations.
So you were down there, I understand, in the 50s. What year were you down there?
Yeah, that's correct. I left Norfolk, Virginia, probably in July, around the 1st of July of 1957, and I spent my 18th birthday on a Liberty ship controlled by the Navy in the South Pacific down in there, in the Caribbean.
Just a teenager.
I was, yeah. We went to the first place they sent me to was in the jungle, and we were absolutely in the jungle where there was only one way in, one way out. We were in a fenced compound, and we had 4 guns, 4 large 90 millimeter anti-aircraft guns. We had a radar base there, and of course our orderly rooms and our little PX and everything. We were completely confined in that area.
What area was that in the jungle? Was that in Panama?
Yes, that was directly out in the jungle in Panama. We were attached to Fort Clayton, but we were way out away from Fort Clayton.
Wow.
We were on a road. Our location was on a road, off of a road, called Chiva Chiva Trail. I think they call it Chiva Chiva Trail. Now that's the Spanish pronunciation of it.
And what did you do way out there on the Chiva Chiva Trail? What were you doing?
We were guarding the canal in case someone attacked it, in case, the aerial attacks. And we were in a it wasn't a large compound. We had 4 guns, 4 of the large guns. There were anywhere from 12 to 16 people attached to each gun, plus the radar section, and then the officers that were in there.
So there wasn't very much going on in 1957 down there, was there? Was there very many troops there?
Well, actually we were training. We did our jungle training and all that stuff, and I went through I guess pretty close to maybe the first JOTC that were at Sherman.
I think
our whole group went through it. Our whole artillery group went through it, and we were all over Panama. We wasn't. I mean, I was just in one small location. We were all over Panama.
Did you see any spraying going on in 1957?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got sprayed. Seemed like we got fogged. Seemed like on a daily basis, and our compound was surrounded, was fenced in with a large. It looked like a chain link fence to keep larger animals and things out too, and of course human predators. And that was all sprayed with some kind of a high-powered weed killer. Later, of course, I came up with some ideas of what that was, but that was administered from a big truck. And then there were people where the truck didn't get to. There were people actually would come out and utilize backpacks and go around and spray those fence lines and our ammunition bunkers and around our barracks.
So the spraying wasn't just at the fence line, it was all around the bunkers in the middle of the base where you had to reside, is that right?
Oh yes, they sprayed right around our barracks. Killed some type of I guess vegetation that was dangerous to us, or just to keep some large vegetation growing up around us. Yeah, it was sprayed all over the place, really.
Right. It was in the 70s as well. And I know in 57, you were the first troops to go through the jungle operations training, I believe, because I believe that's when it was formed. And I did find spraying in 1955 at Fort Sherman. They didn't say what they were spraying, so no doubt that they were doing that when you were there.
Absolutely. We witnessed that there too. And we witnessed it right in our the areas where we had the bleachers, where they give us the classes, and before we would actually go out and wade in all the mud and the jungle stuff. And they did some kind of spraying in there too. That they did a large area where they killed. It killed all of the foliage on the trees and things, and they were just bare. There wasn't nothing on there just wasn't any leaves or anything on the trees. So, of course, I've compiled that in my notes too, after I got back and realized that something was going on there that really wasn't healthy for the human body.
Right. Now, did you fight the VA for benefits?
I did, but they didn't even talk to me about Agent Orange. Matter of fact, I've got the papers and things here where they allowed me nothing on Agent Orange. They took a lot of pictures of my skin lesions, all of my scars and stuff that was a result of Panama and all the chemicals and things that, of course, that we came in contact with, to include the Agent Orange, the fogging of the DDT, and also the chemicals that we cleaned the guns with. We had absolutely no protection whatsoever, and of course, we didn't know any difference. We just did what was told, and I do believe that the people who told us to do this, they didn't know either. They were just
following directions. Yeah, they're following directions from up above. Someone must have known, but maybe they didn't. I mean, they say they didn't, but I believe that probably in the early 60s they did know that this stuff was not good, not healthy for us.
I'm sure there's someone way up the ladder that knew, but not the troops that were on the ground with us. I don't think any of our sergeants or possibly any of our officers that got out there and trumped around in that stuff right along with us. I don't think they had an idea what we were traveling in and walking around in. And there was what really stuck in my mind is the fact that we while I was there, the 2 years that I was there, part of our duty was to pull guard duty on a chemical storage installation compound farther way out on Chiva Chiva Trail. It was basically, I guess, to the end of the trail. And it was we pulled guard duty on that supply place 24/7, 365. And of course, our guard duty would come up once every 2 weeks or something like that. We pull 4-hour shifts out there, and 8 hours a day, There were 3 guards.
Did you
And
ever?
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you ever see any uh, of the storage area? What they kind of uh, vessels they were using to store whatever they were storing? Were they barrels with stripes on them of any colors?
Yes, we were right there at the main gate into the storage facility. I mean, we didn't have keys to the gate. The people who came in to deliver the deliveries, the big drums that they deliver, the blue drums and the black drums and the white drums with various markings around them, they would come in there and they had chain hoists and things like that that they all lifted those drums and then wheeled them into the warehouse. The warehouse was a big wood building with a front loading dock, I suppose it was. It looked like a porch, but it was a loading dock. They would back up to it and load and unload. And then all the time there were vehicles coming in. There were pumping trucks with tanks on the back of them would come in and offload chemicals. And then, of course, there were smaller trucks that came in with smaller tanks in the back of them, and they would also offload the chemicals. But the bigger chemicals came in tractor and trailers, the deliveries. When they came in there, they came in trailers. It stayed locked 24 hours a day. There were big padlocks on the gate, on the front gate. So during our duty hours, we really couldn't go in there unless one of the trucks, the people came up and unlocked the gate. And I don't know why we were out there, but honestly, you asked me that question. I do not know what we were guarding in there.
Wow.
But I do know we had automatic weapons and live ammunition. So
You were guarding something important, and it was some kind of chemicals because it wasn't like furniture coming in or gasoline or anything like that. Well, it might have been some gasoline, but or some solvents. Huh.
I can prove that. I mean, I can prove that the DDT was stored there, but there were other chemicals too.
Oh.
Because the trucks that sprayed the DDT, that fogged it around the compounds, they came in there and did their daily pickups.
Oh, okay. So do you know if these were Panamanian trucks like the Renair company? Because Renair Pit Company, those were Panamanian locals that were hired in 1948 to do the spraying, or I don't know if it was 48, but it was in the 40s, to do the spraying for the Canal Zone. Did it ever say Renair on their trucks?
I do not recall what anything said on the trucks. I know they were light powder blue trucks. They were dark blue trucks. They were white trucks. And I do believe there were some yellow trucks that came in there and picked up chemicals. I don't know. To this day, I do not know who those trucks belonged to, but I do know that the facility was guarded by the military, so we had to have some kind of a
relationship. Yeah, they worked under the military, of course. Now, this, how about the drivers? How were they dressed? Do you recall?
Yeah, they were Spanish people. They were Panamanians, and they spoke Spanish. You could hear them speaking Spanish, and of course I spoke broken Spanish, but never really dawned on me to listen to what they were talking about or what they were calling the chemicals or anything like that.
Right, sure not. But as far as their clothing, did they have, tan shirts on? Did they look like they were a group, connected to each other?
It seemed like some of them were. Some of them were clothed alike with light blue shirts on, I think, and dark blue pants or light green shirts and dark green pants. I just don't remember back that far.
Okay.
But I do know that they were all Panamanians, and these trucks were some kind of company trucks or part of the Canal Zone or.
How far is that Chiva Chiva Trail from Fort Clayton? Is that on Fort Clayton? Or was that?
No, no, it's off in the jungle. Chiva Chiva Trail runs out, I believe it was east of, I don't know what it was way out east off one of the main highways. Chiva Chiva Trail was a graveled road that we went up about 8 or 10 miles on, and then we turned left off of that gravel road into our compound, which had a guard gate and you couldn't get in without, but excuse me, the guard opened the gate, and we stood guard there 24/7 too, so no one came left.
Okay. Okay. Would the trucks come like every day to pick up chemicals when you were there guarding?
All the time I was there, unless it was after closing time, after midnight or after 5 o'clock. Yeah, during the day when we would pull our day shift, they were just in and out all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what my research showed too, that they would pick them up from somewhere. And I was thinking it might have been the Rainbow Chemical Company, because that was a Panamanian chemical company that was on what was then the Fort Clayton, and it's still there. And so I was hoping that, but it makes sense that there would be a lot being shipped in big barrels, and they need a big place to store them. So this is probably where they stored the chemicals, and having the trucks coming in and out makes sense. So I think we have to look for the Renair company, what type of color trucks they used, and just some more research, more clues.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, somebody knows something that we don't know.
Right.
And they're not talking.
Right. Right. Now, were you able to read my book, Bud?
I did. I read it, and I'm going back through it again, and I'm doing some searching on some of the good material that you put in there, Donna.
Wonderful.
And by the way, I really want to thank you and praise you for all of the work that you're doing and the people that connected to you. This is a magnificent thing that you're doing, and I think this is exactly what needs to happen for our elected officials, our lawmakers, to eventually pick up on this, and then get it into the Pentagon and start digging through some files and things, and get some people compensated that so deservingly needs to be compensated.
Thank you. I agree totally with what you just said. I was just flabbergasted when I found evidence that it was in Panama, and now I found evidence that it was in Thailand as well. And so we're able to help those folks too. And our council has won a case for Panama and a case for Thailand. And he fights for us at the DVA in Washington, D.C. And several of the veterans have sent my link or my book to their congressman. Somebody sent it to Trey Gowdy, and somebody sent it to Ted Cruz. So I know that the VA secretary has my link now. Dr. Dorinchuk sent him a memo, and so we'll see, where it goes. They're hiding this fact, and I do hope that we blow it open. My husband's own case, his is stuck at the RO level, the very bottom, and they're not answering. And they've had this information for a couple of years, and it's facts are facts. So I do believe that the Panama veteran and the Thailand veteran deserve benefits, and I just hope that we can make that happen. Now, just so everyone knows, the links to my book are on my website, donnatorno.com. So if you go there, if you read my book, that's really key to the evidence, but you can go directly to those links and download them and use them for your own battles.
Yes, and the book, I might add, is very informative. It's to the point, and then it's just absolutely chock full of stuff that we need to be studying and reading. On my second term over there, I went back over there in early '61, and I was assigned to a different artillery group. I was assigned to a mechanized group, which threw us right back in the jungle again.
Oh.
We were actually stationed at Fort Clayton, and most of our hours was spent at Fort Clayton. But we had various alert sites and gun sites that once an alert came out there, we had to pull up stakes, and we had to go to whichever sector that the threat was supposed to be coming from, the east, the west, the north, or the south. We had a sector that we could go to for any directional incoming threat to our. And I witnessed the spraying in those places.
Now, was that by plane or by hand spraying or truck spraying?
No, it was by truck spraying and hand spraying.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing we did at our first compound, but these and also they about once a week they would fog those places. I guess they would fog the places when we would come up there, because we were who they were trying to protect.
Right.
I mean, they just randomly go out and kill mosquitoes. There had to be a reason and some personnel in a certain area for them to spray. But they didn't seem to care who they sprayed it on, who breathed it or what. It's like it was a smell good bomb or something.
Right, right. Well, in 1948, they started putting half of the Agent Orange or 2,4-D in Gatun Lake in our drinking water. So, we were all exposed to things, and 2,4-D causes cancer as well. And I'm sure 2,4,5-T was down there in 48 as well. I just haven't found it yet in 48. But definitely in 57 when you were there. Well, the earliest I found was 59, January 59, but I believe that it was probably there in the 40s, because that's what the report said that I had found that's now declassified, that they started in 43 there.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
My application for exposure to Agent Orange in Panama was denied. However, I got some other exemptions and did get some help, but I haven't given up on this. I've got an appointment Tuesday at 4:30 with a representative, and we're going to go over this Agent Orange thing really thorough. I'm going to take your book with me.
Good.
And I've got some places highlighted in there that I'm going to let him read. I have some pictures and things that I want him to look at, and so he will be aware. He is an individual guy, but he is dedicated. He's like you. He's dedicated to helping.
Good. What part of the country are you in, Bud?
I am Central America, centrally located in Oklahoma, right in the middle of Oklahoma, right in the middle of the United States.
Okay, great. That wouldn't be Dale, would it, that you're going to go see?
No.
No, okay. I know somebody in Oklahoma City named Dale that is doing the same kind of thing I am. So we've got a lot of people working towards this goal, and as we join forces, we're going to be able to bust it open, I do believe, someday. It's going to take a lot of litigation, unfortunately. People don't, like that fact. They think that we should just be paid for what they did, and I agree with that, but they're not listening. So we need to have help to bust through, and I think Sean has done the right thing by making us a national foundation so that we can go forward.
Yes, I do believe that we are on the brink of breaking this thing through and getting the attention of the people in Washington that needs to get into this. And if it's whatever it takes. If it has to go into some kind of litigation to have those archives or records brought to light, I think that's what we need that's what needs to happen, and I think we're pretty close to that.
I think we are too, and I think it's exciting. I never knew I was going to be in this kind of position. I was just trying to prove it for my husband, but when I found it, I'm like, I can't keep this a secret. I could have just kept it all to myself and fought for my husband. I would know we need an army to raise up and show them proof and get some help.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been using the VA since just a little while after I got out of Panama for my skin condition, and even when it wasn't a service connected, they still, since I was in Panama, they connected me enough, I guess, to go ahead and do my dermatology and all that stuff on my skin, which it's been just a constant battle for ever since I left down there, and I just recently had my nose replaced and all of that stuff, and
oh my
had that
goodness.
done. Yeah, I had that done through the VA.
When you say
So
you
the
have,
VA's been pretty good to me. I have no complaints with the VA. I have complaints about who it is that is not. It doesn't want to look at the fact that Agent Orange was used in Panama.
right, I agree. I heard Oklahoma's VA is pretty good.
It is. It's really good. I have no complaints. I have nothing but praises in what all they've done. I have had several plastic surgeries done. They for my skin condition, and they used to send me out for my plastic surgery, like to Oklahoma, the big Oklahoma hospitals here, and where they teach plastic surgery and all this stuff. And but the last one, my nose replacement, was physically actually done inside of our VA unit here. They have a plastic surgery unit attached, not just attached to it, but inside of our operation at our Oklahoma City Veterans
That's wonderful.
Center.
That's wonderful, but my goodness, because of the skin condition caused by these herbicides and pesticides, you have suffered so much and had to have your nose replaced and plastic surgery how many times?
I've had plastic surgery about 4 different times in 4 different places, but the last one was by far, the worst. It was cutting the whole part of my nose off and then building me a new nose, which they did a magnificent job on, by the way. It's
Good.
absolute, yeah.
Good. Well, gosh.
But you're right. The pain and the suffering that I went through, was it's just almost unbearable.
Oh my goodness. And then yet they say, no, there was never any herbicides or pesticides there. In my husband's case, we called Agent Orange well, I called it herbicide. I called it a pesticide. It is categorized as a pesticide. Everything's under pesticides, fungicides, egicides, herbicides, just depends on what they're used for. It's a pesticide that's used to kill plants. So herbicide is a pesticide. But because I called it a pesticide, I did a FOIA request to see how my husband's case was going, and because I called it a pesticide, they said they don't have to rate him because Agent Orange is a herbicide. And they didn't, interestingly enough, when they sent back his denial, they did not mention the shipping record that I had given them. So they've had this record for a couple of years now, and they're just being very quiet and don't want to answer it, I guess. The upper echelon has told them that this stuff was never in Panama and never in Thailand.
But we did find it in both Panama and Thailand. I believe it could have been used on any base. It was up to the base commander that needed weed killing. So anyway, thank you very much for coming on today, Bud. It was a very interesting show.
Well, that's about all the time we have for tonight, folks, but boy, was that interesting. I just love talking about this topic, and I hope that you all enjoyed the discussion. I hope that you'll participate as well. You can reach out to me and get on board, and I'd love to speak to you and hear your story and what you know. You never know. You may know something that's going to help someone prove their case. They say that the VA says that buddy statements and first-hand knowledge and all of that, well, we're going to give them a lot of buddy statements and a lot of first-hand knowledge by speaking to all of you. So I'm excited. I think that we're going somewhere. Thanks a lot for engaging. Please tune in to the next episode. United, we're making history. Have a nice evening, everyone. Thanks a lot for attending.